I don't consider Judas to be a traitor. They say Judas sold Jesus for over 30 silver coins. How much would this traitor sell us out for? Think about it. What would he gain by selling us out to the mafia? Money? Fame? Status? What would really gratify any one of us? If the structures, norms, and values of the world mean nothing, one's purpose is determined by their own outlook. Such an individual would refuse to comply with the rest of the world, showing just how insignificant such constructs are. Chrollo Lucilfer, a name that sparks various interpretations and perspectives regarding this one enigmatic man. Many are drawn to this character for different reasons. Some may enjoy his well-thought-out tactics and abilities, as well as the mysterious unknown factor he adds to the story. There is much to Chrollo that makes him compelling, yet the aspect of him that I find to be most captivating is how he acts in stark contrast to every other force in Hunter x Hunter. No force has any influence on him, and he has no regard for any established power or authority. Chrollo casually defies all societal structures, even those within the criminal underworld, yet he does not do so aimlessly. All of his words and actions are purposeful, with a clear intent. Chrollo is motivated by his own view on the world and his need to find purpose and identity in a world without meaning. Chrollo is very much an enigma. His past is mostly unknown, his goals are not outwardly stated, and he tends to lack any defining characteristics in terms of personality. This causes a disconnect with some, who are unable to relate to or identify with this character. Much of this has to do with what Chrollo represents, as well as his esoteric nature. He embodies something completely foreign to the ideas modern society has established. Chrollo's actions have shown that all forms of established order have no bearing on him. Chrollo is the antithesis of society itself, and he is bound by no structures other than those he imposes. The most significant one being the Phantom Troupe. And to understand the head of the spider, one must understand the spider itself. Chrollo, along with the founding troupe members, were from Meteor City, a place where the dregs of society had been left to rot, living in absolute squalor without any hope of a future. Those who grew up there lacked a meaningful way to live their lives. And in this land of the downtrodden, the spider was born. Through their shared suffering, a group of individuals came to the realization that they could take their lives beyond the limits of what the world had given them, and formed the entity known as the Spider. The Phantom Troupe is essentially Chrollo's answer to the society that had failed both him and the residents of Meteor City. It acts as a sort of alternative to society that can exist outside and transcend the confines that the world has established. The troupe acts in direct opposition to all else, regardless of what they are. Because of the lives that they had lived and the idea they represent, material objects have no inherent value to them. They live for each other, and nothing in the world can give them the fulfillment that the spider has. The spider is the only entity in the world that Chrollo values, as it not only gives him and his fellow troupe members a way to exert their existence upon the world that had cast them aside, but also a profound connection that goes deeper than any within Hunter x Hunter. They live for and because of the spider. They steal not for materialistic reasons, they kill not simply because they enjoy the act of murder, but the destruction they cause acts as a statement to the world that they exist and will not submit to society. The world had denied them of any meaningful existence, so the spider has determined its own, through its own means. This is true, of course, for Chrollo as well. The troupe has allowed Chrollo to self-actualize and self-determined, making his existence one of meaning. Because of this, it is clear why Chrollo values the Phantom Troupe in such a way, and prioritizes the spider's survival over his own. Chrollo wishes for the spider to survive above all else, as it not only consists of his beloved troupe members, but is the only aspect of his existence that can live past him. Any leg of the spider can potentially become the head in the event that Chrollo loses his life, and he is certain that the spider can thrive even under those circumstances. The rules he set up in place ensure that the spider can live on without Chrollo, which in his mind would allow his own existence to continue beyond his death, which is why he has no fear of death whatsoever. The Troupe remains the only thing in the material world that gives Chrollo's life purpose, and is why he orchestrates such grand displays of bloodshed. The spider is the means by which Chrollo has found purpose, identity, and a family, and are what grounds him as a sympathetic character despite his actions. Though much about Chrollo can be understood through the spider, his philosophy gives significant insight on him as well. Hunter x Hunter uses perspectivism to make each of its characters unique and engaging in their own way, ensuring that there is no one absolute view on the world that should be taken as the one true belief. This can be seen within Chrollo's ideology and how it contrasts that of every other character. I have explained why Chrollo cherishes the Phantom Troupe, but the following will explain why the rest of the world does not hold the same weight to him. Chrollo's philosophy consists of the deterministic belief that all events, including human actions, are ultimately determined by causes external to one's own will. Essentially, that fate controls all aspects of reality. To Chrollo, all of humanity are puppets to fate, leading insignificant and preordained lives. This is also a deep nihilism, as in Chrollo's mind, people's lives have no inherent value. It is for this reason that Chrollo has no regard for human life and is able to orchestrate such destruction and bloodshed remorselessly. The idea that free will is an illusion does in fact have some basis to it. One's actions, thoughts, and feelings are at least in part based on biological or instinctual need, as well as external factors such as the status one is born into, their education, or any other unforeseen circumstances. Such factors are completely unrelated to one's individuality, and it is something shaped by forces one has no control over. From this reasoning, one can make the conclusion that free will is limited as long as forces external to one's own will can affect them. To Chrollo, one's fate is dependent on what has already been preordained. Therefore, one's attempts to control the world around them are insignificant. Those in the highest rungs of society tend to amass as much power as they can, ensuring their dominance over the rest of the world. But such efforts are fruitless to Chrollo. The power such individuals hold is inconsequential. Chrollo imposes this idea upon them and society through the destruction he and the Troupe causes. Chrollo does not wish to change the world, as he believes trying to do so would be pointless. He simply seeks to understand the kind of person he truly is, as well as ensure a meaningful existence in a world in which no meaning can be found. Because Chrollo's view on the world is so clear to him, he is fascinated by humanity's willingness to go against a predetermined fate, and likes to observe those who do, as he did with Hisoka. Chrollo had informed him that he had ensured victory and that there was no chance Hisoka could defeat him. Yet Hisoka still wished to fight him regardless of this. Chrollo was deeply intrigued by this reaction and thought to himself about how interesting humanity can be. As humans, we at times attempt to defy fate through determination and force of will. It is this potential for resolve that Chrollo, who regards everything as a mere flow of events that allows no agency, admires, despite his beliefs. With this in mind, Chrollo's actions and viewpoint can be understood, as they are born from a deep philosophical perspective that add context to his character. He gets at the deep sense of longing for a greater purpose and identity in a world whose events cannot be controlled that many, including myself, have felt. At the same time, there's an element to Chrollo that is very Christ-like. He acts as a messianic figure to the Phantom Troupe, one who has saved them and given them the means to be fulfilled. He is also the leader of a group with 12 disciples and has given them salvation, just as Jesus was. Chrollo manages to share aspects of both Jesus and the devil. These seemingly contrasting ideas have worked together beautifully and further enrich this character's complexity. These parallels to Christianity are alluded to when Chrollo states that he doesn't believe that Judas was a traitor. Judas had sold Jesus out, similarly to how Hisoka was doing to the rest of the troupe in York New City. There are numerous interpretations as to why Judas had done this, but Chrollo saw neither this nor what Hisoka had done as a betrayal, due to his belief that it was merely fate playing itself out, and that he should have no ill will towards him. Though at the current point of the story, this sentiment seems to have changed somewhat, and now he not only wishes death upon the one who has targeted the spider, but wishes to be the one to end him himself. Chrollo has shown to be more than an antagonist. His, as well as the troupe story, has proven to be just as significant as Kurapika's, and remains one of the most profound and engaging aspects of Hunter x Hunter. He is a complex, subtly written nihilist, who in spite of what he believes the world to be, has formed the Phantom Troupe to give both himself, as well as them, purpose and liberation in this rotten world that had cast them aside. This is what Chrollo represents, and is why he remains one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. Hopefully this analysis has given some newfound appreciation for the head of the spider. Thank you.